Hi guys, RCO guy here again. Today we're here with my DJI Naza F550. Um, I've done several reviews and a lot of videos flying with it and everything, but today I'd like to talk a little bit about props, balancing, and motors. Um, I've been, seriously attempting to get things together with this camera system on here. This is my 600 line TTL professional camera. That's my POV cam. And I use it with the base station unit here. At any rate, this week I recently purchased carbon fiber props. Now let me tell you a little story about these bad boys. These are awesome. Um, I went online and I did some research and I looked into motor balancing. I did do the motor balancing method. I've seen how it was done. I don't have an iPhone. I have an iPod. I didn't feel like paying for an app, so I found one on there. There's a little seismology app on there. It's awesome. It does exactly what the other videos showed. Same thing. As long as you get a decimal reading, you can get things balanced. So I balanced out these motors with a little bit of tape, and then I bought the carbon fibers. I was using the Gem Fan carbon-filled 10 by 4.5s. They were stiffer. I never broke one. The DJI props, they're terrible. They break at the base very often. You're going to throw, your investment through the sky. Bye-bye. Um, However, as I went to the stiffer props, they were better. These carbon fibers are so stiff. I mean, there's no deflection in these things at all. No bend, no give, no nothing. I mean, they're beautiful. But when you go to balance, I use, I think it's Hobbycraft has a balancing tool, a little stand, and it has a bar in the middle of it, and you spin it and balance it. But what I did is I balanced these props, had to take a little sanding. They came from China. I think they were, what were they? About 10 bucks a set for two. They come with a clockwise, counterclockwise, as you would expect. However, the people at GemFan are, I don't know what their issue is. I don't think it's them. I think it's their salespeople. But in China, they have no concept of counterclockwise. They don't even know what you're talking about. So I went around for months and months with this guy back and forth on eBay. Listen, I bought like, 6 sets of blades, and he sent me all one direction. Why would you do such a thing? Anyway, so this is the setup I have now. I got the 600 line camera on here. I have the NASA GPS. This is my cloverleaf skew planar antenna that I made. I'd Be Crazy had that online, so I copied those instructions and put that together. It went together fairly well. Um, it all works good. This flies like a charm now. I've messed around with this mount here quite a bit. I put a piece of foam under it. As you can see now, it's got some rubber grommets, and I had it on a rocker. I had another device down underneath it, trying to get a little steadier picture. It is true what they say. Make sure your props and your engines are balanced, because you can clearly see when I fly. I watch these cones, and they're a good indicator when it's vibrating. You'll see them moving around. I mean, you're going to get some of that anyway, just from normal flight when the wind hits it and when it shifts. However, if you got a lot of brrr, that's where it's coming from. So I did that. I did all my balancing stuff. Now when I fly, and I'll put some videos on later on, it's quite a bit different. I'm worried about my base station blowing over here. We got a little bit of wind. So that's my 550. Let's see, we're going to plug it in. I've got the radio active. So I want to go over a couple of things I've seen online recently, maybe dispel a few myths. And this has a completely weird, different sound, tinny sound to it now with these props, because I guess that beeping comes from those motors or the speed controllers. I think it's the motors. So to dispel a few myths with the i50, with the F550, the NASA control system, if you do turn your bird on without the radio on, which they always recommend you never do, it's not going to fly away. If you turn your radio on and have it, as you can see here, I have mine right now. This is the switch I use. GPS, ADDI, fail. And this is off, course lock, home lock. This is my fail-safe switch. If you throw this in the fail-safe right now, it will not fly up in the air and take off on you. If it knows where it's already at, when you first turn it on, it's going to do its GPS. It's going to find itself. It's going to know where it is location-wise. So it's not going to take off and fly away. I've turned this on many times, and you can also do it with the Naza control plugged into your laptop or your computer when you're programming it. So it doesn't do flyaways. I don't know. Somebody was saying that it would fly away on you, but it doesn't. So this is my machine. This is how I got it set up. I got a couple of little bouncy rigs back here that when you vibrate them enough, maybe you can see it lighten up. Those little LEDs there, that's at the back side of the aircraft. And as you can see with the vibration, they start themselves up and they kind of run while you fly the whole time. It's pretty cool. You can see it's flashing here. So, and I got that big old battery. So this thing's pretty cool. I got lights in the back. Those are my blue lights for the rear. And if I fly it, if I get enough courage to fly at night one of these times. And that is the front. So it's a pretty Christmas tree looking thing flying around. And we'll turn those off for now. I want to do some flights today. There was also some stuff I saw in there regarding course lock and home lock. I'll explain that if I can. Okay, course lock. When you fly in course lock mode, when you start it up, you start it out. What I always do is I use one of those orange cones, like I got right there, and I put it out on the field. I set my F550 behind that cone towards me. Then when I fly, that cone is my delimiting spot. That's where I know, all right, if I go past that, all your controls are going to reverse if you go past that cone when it comes back to you. So you'll lose control. If you go past you and over your shoulder, for instance, it's just like flying an airplane. Everything's going to shift on you, and you're going to wind up piling it in the ground if you're not paying attention. So you're going to be really careful about that. But I use that safety cone. I put that out. As long as I keep my craft forward of that cone, no problems. So, course lock. Course lock allows you, what I do is I start it out, I put it on the ground, I let it fire up. You got to let it acquire its signal. You want it to go to green flashes. And then what I do, and I've seen other people do it differently, they'll fly it in ADI mode or whatever. They'll fly it with it off, GPS and off, and then they'll flip it on in flight. You can do that as well. However, there's a little delay in there where you got to wait for it to acquire its position and stuff. So what I do is I usually just start it off on course lock when I feel like flying that way. I enjoy it because it's good to do photography with that. So you start it off on course lock. What that allows you to do is this craft can rotate in any direction while you're flying it. However, it'll still maintain its north, south, east, west direction on your sticks. So it doesn't matter how the craft is oriented. It'll still fly straight back and forth and left and right. Okay, so that's what course lock allows you to do. Home lock. Okay, when you switch home lock on, now all of these require you to be in GPS or ADI mode, one of those two modes. Okay, so you can't conceivably, you're either going to be in GPS or ADI. I recommend you leave it in GPS. I haven't tried it in ADI, switching them over yet, but I will. However, course lock, what that allows you to do is, once you got out past 10 meters, with course lock turn on. Now you can turn this on while you're in flight, or you can start out that way if you want. Starting out that way isn't going to make any difference for you because it doesn't pick up on that course lock. It doesn't pick up home lock until you're out past 10 meters. So what it does is when you go out past 10 meters, for instance, you're flying straight and then you bring it over to the left. Okay, so I'm at that tree over there and I bring it way over to where that flag is up there. Okay, now if I want to bring it back, I just pull the stick back, boom, and it will come from that location over there. It'll come back at an angle, but it'll come directly back to you. It won't go back out and back over. But if I'm at that flag and I pull that stick backwards, even though the orientation might have been different, it's still going to come right back to me. Now, it'll do that until it reaches that 10-meter mark, and then it'll go back to normal mode. So be aware of that. Once you get inside that 10 meters, they figure that's far enough away for you to see it and get in control of it. It's a great resource to use if you get your orientation messed up. Boom, you can pull it back. Then again, if you have it in course lock instead of home lock, then you don't have an orientation problem ever. But those are, a lot of people complain, oh, the soft fly, I like to have stunts, and that's all good. I do that. So you can also fly in Addy mode. I believe you can fly Addy mode. Um, I don't think it uses any of the GPS stuff when you're in Addy. It switches all that stuff off. So I don't think any of this stuff works over here. So your course lock, home lock, I don't believe those are going to work in Addy mode. Addy mode's really cool as far as, if you want to do some high-speed flying and stuff like that. It's really soft when you fly with the GPS system turned on. But, like I said, there's two different schools. Some people like it, some people, Anyway, so that's that. So I hope I cleared up a few things for people. I'm going to try to run some flights today, see how things go. You know what? While I'm at it, I'm going to mention this other little thing I invented here. This is my flight tray. There's two schools on this too. It's also thumbs. You're either flying with dumb thumbs or you're pinching sticks, one way or the other. So I kind of like the pinch and sticks deal. It gives you a little more self-control. You're not so active to throw that thumb around when you get in a janky kind of situation. But the way this works, made this out of ABS plastic sheet. Just cut it to size. These little wrist things I got at the dollar store for 50 cents a piece. They're perfect pads. Cut all this stuff out of plexi, or out of this plastic material. The hand rests are right here. The bolts and stuff are all 1/4 threaded. These are just extensions. I brought it up this far. The way this thing works, and this is nice and easy, I got these little things here, snappy things that you hang stuff with for the walls. Boom, it just snaps right in there. These bolts stop it from going any further, and these guys keep it from going left to right. It gives you a nice wrist rest if you want to fly like that. If you want to pinch, or you can still use your thumbs. But if you want to pinch, you got that nice hand rest. And this is a safety choke here in case anything falls off, or if it decides it wants to jump away from me and fall down, I don't lose it. So this is like a safety lanyard just to hold things on there in case something goes wrong. You don't want to drop that $400 radio on the ground. But it's very stable, very solid. I have this neck strap, which is from Targus. It's used for a laptop bag, but it's super comfortable. It's nice and padded. So when you hang this thing, put it around your neck, it's nice. It hangs. You don't have to worry about holding on to the radio or holding it up. I mean, it's just a super idea. If anybody's interested in it, let me know, and I'll see if I can draw up some plans on and get some measurements and stuff. That's all handmade. I did that myself. It works great. So, thanks for listening, and have a great day.